Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Joleen's Happy Time Craftcast. And I couldn't think of a more appropriate guest to have on my very first episode than the original OG crafter, my mom. And you've all been so kind and wonderful to me. I know you'll be kind and wonderful to her. So wherever you are, please welcome my mom, Jo Emery. Hi, Mom.
Hello. Good morning.
Are you excited to do this with me?
You know I'm not, but I'm here.
Well, are you nervous?
No, not really.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. Just be yourself and it will be absolutely amazing.
Okay. That's what you say.
Just trust me. Just trust me. We have folks in our chat saying hi to you, and I know you didn't want me to tell you how many places we are live.
Oh, don't tell me.
You don't want to know?
Okay.
Seven places, and about you want to know how many people? About 300,000 or so. But it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be Mom, breathe. It's gonna be totally fine. So, but the reason that I wanted you to be my first guest is I have lots of memories growing up of you being an all-time crafter. And I know Grandma was a crafter before you. So can you just tell me a little bit about Grandma Myrtle? What kind of crafter was she?
Well, I vaguely replicated.
Right.
When she was, I think she told me she was 16 years old, she had carved a wooden horse.
Oh, yeah.
And that was in her bookcase for years, and I'm not sure what happened to it. I'm thinking my sister has it.
You mean she just sat down and whittled? What do you mean?
She did. She carved it.
Wow.
It was probably 6 inches high, and she had actually a horsehair tail on it. So, yeah.
So she figured out how to make the tail and add the tail, and so she just figured it out. Did she quilt too?
Grandma quilted. She did a lot of, she called them scrap quilts, and I wish I knew I know how she did it, but I can't do it. But she did a lot of.
Do you have memories of her being crafty all the time? I have memories of you.
Your grandma never sat still. She always had to do something.
So you and me, busy hands.
I come home from school, she'd be sewing, she'd be doing something.
Right. Because the name of today's show is Why Am I Craft Obsessed? Because I really am. I think about my crafty projects and pursuits all the time. Do you think about crafts a lot?
I do. And if I see something, I might think I should try it. But then I think again and think about
why? Why do you think again?
All the projects I've got started, that maybe I shouldn't start another one.
So over my lifetime, let's just talk about all the crafts you have tried. Oofta. Yeah, oofta. So take us through it, Mom. What'd you start with?
I attempted winemaking at one time. Brandy vinegar.
Oh, gross. Okay, what else?
That was a fail.
I've
upholstered.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I have done a few wood cutouts, like Christmas decorations.
Oh, bandsaw.
Scroll saw.
Okay, scroll saw.
Which is someone referred to me, it was just nothing more than a sewing machine. So,
right.
So I could not cut my finger off, which was good.
Right.
But I just did a few of those. It's too time consuming.
Right.
You got to sand and varnish and all that good stuff.
Okay. What else has there been?
So I have crocheted a lot, done a lot of Afghans, a lot of sweaters. I think you had a few vests. Yeah. I don't know if you still have them. My favorite is we tried teaching at one time and that didn't work.
Do you remember teaching me to knit? Because for me, Mom, it is a core memory of you teaching me to knit. And do you remember the process of teaching me? Because
I remember trying to teach you.
We were sitting on the couch in the living room and you explained how to knit. And then you said, and then you purl. And I said, well, what is a pearl? And you said, I don't know. You just purl.
It's
Do
the
you remember
opposite of a
that?
knit. Yeah, sort
Yeah.
of I do.
Well,
Yeah.
and that went on for a long time with you just saying, you purl, you purl. You purl, but there was like no like description or understanding of what that
And then
meant.
what did you do? You ended up going and taking a class.
No, I just had a friend teach me in a coffee shop.
Oh,
And
okay.
her method of teaching me was so much easier because I held the knitting needles kind of on my waist. So I didn't
Okay.
have to do any of that like tensiony stuff you kept talking to me about. So I
Good.
eventually got it figured out. But I feel like in your crafting, Mom, you're missing like a whole era of ceramics.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you even had your own kiln and you had them when they were green, and then you like tell me about that. Like, how did that start?
Well, that started because I took some classes and I thought this is kind of expensive because it ended up costing me at least 5 times what I paid for the piece. And I thought, I can do this on my own and have my own
As in
kiln.
make your own molds. Okay, so that's when you started your own molds and your own kiln.
I only had one mold. I would still buy the greenware.
Oh, so you had a coffee cup, right?
And it was a coffee cup, yes.
Yes, I remember that. It was a coffee cup. So why did you stop doing ceramics?
Um, Probably found something else that interested me more. And I've
Ah,
made so many. Um, you get to the point, well, what can you make next? You know?
sure, sure. Do you remember going to shop at the ceramic stores and like it was just like really tall shelving of like lots of
Yes.
greenware, and I remember having to like think small because everything was so easily breakable, and I remember you buying the greenware and they put it in these boxes with like
A lot of
ha-
newspaper,
yeah, with a lot of
paper,
newspaper.
shredded
Yeah.
newspaper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was ceramics. And then after ceramics, did you jump right into quilting?
Um,
Or am I missing something in between?
Probably not. I started
So
quilting when my friend told me this is so easy because you just have one little piece and you just add those little pieces together. Well, that's fine as long as you don't know how many pieces you have in that quilt.
right. Do you remember
So
your first quilt that you made?
I do.
Which one was it? Was it the pink one or the red one?
Blue.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. It was a
Yeah, yeah.
blue square
Those
one,
two
and you
squares.
tied it with knots.
I did. Yes, it was tied
Okay.
and not stitched.
Right. So
So
now that how many quilts have you made now in these last 30 years? Because that's about how long it's been,
I
right? 30
I
years
have
of being
not
a
kept
quilter?
track, but I'm guessing maybe 40 or so.
I feel like it's more than that.
And
And
it
I
could be.
talk about the postage stamp quilt. So years ago, Mom, I said you should make a postage stamp quilt. For those of you who might not know what that is, it's like a little, like, are they 1 inch or are they 2 inch?
The one that I made was you cut the square to 2 inches and it got down to a one and a
Right,
half inch
because of the
because
quarter
of the
seam
seams.
allowance,
Yep.
right? Okay, okay. So I said, Mom, you should make a postage stamp quilt. And then you made it. And then what did you
Mhm.
do? Then
I
what did you
wouldn't
do, Mom?
I kept it.
What'd you do?
I wouldn't let you have it.
Why? Why can't I have it? Every time I see it, I ask for it. Now we can do this the easy way or the hard way. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it one of these days. But why can't I have it? It's so beautiful.
I bet you didn't even find it the last time you were down here, were you?
Yes,
Did you?
I did. I totally know where it is. But what I've also
Okay.
figured is I can run faster than you. So
Well, that's probably true.
so I'm thinking
Everybody can run faster.
I was gonna grab it because I feel like Mom, you deceived me because it was my idea and then you made it and then you won't let me have it.
Someday.
Explain yourself.
Someday. You have quite a few quilts that I've made. Oh, forgot
I
about
do.
those. Yeah.
I do. I have quite a few. It's just that postage stamp. I love it. I love it so much.
Mhm.
So, of all these crafts, Mom, okay, so there was the woodworking on the bandsaw,
Yeah.
there's ceramics, crochet, knitting. Oh, I remember you also did something with knots, like a knot embroidery. What was that
Macrame?
called? No, 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 no. It was knots on top of an embroidery hoop, and you made like my initial, and then you made initials
Oh,
for all my friends.
that was just an embroidered.
But didn't it have a name? Like it was a knot of some kind.
Oh, with French knots.
Yeah, but it was all knots. Oh, you cross stitch for a minute too?
I did some cross stitching. Not my favorite thing to do.
How come? How come?
Oh,
Right,
because you're
Audra.
counting.
Oh, right,
And
right.
if you
No
miss
fun.
one and you're changing threads a lot, and um, it was too putsy. Took
Right.
too long to finish a project. So
So, okay, but you also, I forgot, there's another one you picked up. So you recently, like in the last 5 years, have picked up mandala or dot painting.
I've done
How,
dot painting.
how
Yes.
did you get started on that?
I like the outcome. I like the
Mm-hmm.
mandala paintings because they're so beautiful, and
Mm-hmm.
you start in the center and you just keep going around, and you've got kind of the same design all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
But I do like the dot painting because you can just wander wherever you want to. So
Oh.
does that
So So okay, so that sounds kind of fiddly though, Mom. Like fiddly to me equals kind of math and like, but is it not fiddly, this dot painting?
it's not fiddly, but you get so involved in it. Time can go very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and I get lost in it, so I'm not thinking of anything else but, okay, what dots do I want to do next?
How do you keep it from chipping off?
It dries and you varnish over it when it's completely dry.
Like with an
Well,
acrylic
it's a
spray
sealer.
coat?
It's a sealer
Oh, okay.
that you can buy special for it.
So what are you working on right now? What is on your work table right now?
I have a few quilts I need to finish.
Okay, what kind of quilts?
Um, One is a queen size that will be going to Jack, and he picked that one out.
Well, that's exciting.
He knows it, yeah.
Oh, right, right.
And
He picked out the top, I think.
yes, he did.
Okay,
So I
I
need to
remember
finish
that.
that for him. And then I have that cat one for George.
Okay.
And then Charlie's is black on black on black. So
I love it.
yeah. So I need to finish those, and I've been going to get at it, but I'm kind of a procrastinator. I have to be in the mood to do it, or I don't want to do it.
Does that surprise you given how much of a crafter you are? So do you just pick up a different project?
Oh, sometimes, or I get involved doing something else and we'll play cards or something like that. So,
Right. So of all of the things that you've made, let's
okay.
maybe put them into a category.
Oh, shoot.
What's your favorite quilt that you've ever made?
My favorite quilt
Hmm.
probably is this Baltimore album that's on the back of the couch.
What does Baltimore album mean? Is that a style, a pattern? Like
It,
what
it
is
it's a pattern,
okay?
and it's very precise. Every block is different. I wish I could remember the names of it, but I
But
could
Mom, I
probably.
feel like I'm hearing a large, like a contradiction, which is like cross stitch was too fiddly, right?
Yep,
Because it was kind of math and precise. But isn't quilting like really precise and really fiddly?
it can be, but it's larger, and
Okay.
it goes a lot quicker because you can make something finished, and you can see a lot more results than you
Oh.
can with an inch of cross stitching.
See, I've never really enjoyed it because I can't cut square, right? So like when I cut, it's all and then like it doesn't line up and then I'm just frustrated.
With quilting?
Yeah.
Well, you did make me that one.
I did, which was different. The quilt I made you.
The
Where is
applique.
it,
Yep.
Mom? Where is it? Where is the quilt I made you? Yeah, right.
No, no, it's not far. I think it's in my closet.
Not. It's in a
It-
box somewhere, isn't it?
No, no, I think it's in my closet. When we
Is it
moved,
flying angels or flying
it's
cat?
angels.
Okay, so it was more like a top stitch embroidery kind of thing. That thing
Yeah,
took
you
me
you
forever.
applicate it.
Yes,
And
applique. That's what it was.
yeah,
That's what it was.
you
Okay.
did.
So this Baltimore, you said Baltimore quilt?
Baltimore, I think it was called Baltimore Quilt Album.
Okay. And that's been your favorite because it has so many different patterns and designs that all
It
come together.
does. It does.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So what about in your dot painting world? What's been your most favorite dot painting?
I think it was the tree that I did.
Who has the tree?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to see it?
Sure. Don't we want to see it, don't we? When this goes on to YouTube, we'll just describe it. Or I mean iTunes,
Okay.
iTunes. Oh, now, Mom, that's lovely.
Or
Come
close,
right
are we
this way.
close?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So did that all just live in your head, or was that a pattern?
Well, it wasn't a pattern. I'd kind of seen a painting that kind of looked a little bit like it, but I
Yeah.
started with the tree and then just kind of
Okay.
put the different swirls on it for leaves and whatever.
Right.
But that's my
So
favorite piece. Yeah.
So so that's been your favorite in the dot painting world, the
Yep.
Baltimore album in the quilting world.
Okay.
So with both of these crafts, Mom, can a person just like start quilting? Like,
Sure.
can I just pick that up and like
Of course you
start?
can. Of course you can.
How? How?
Well, you have to have patience.
Ah,
And
step one,
my recommendation would be to
have
take a
different hardwiring.
class. Find a class and take it
Oh,
because they
okay.
can just do you step-by-step instructions, which are the best to do. I took several classes and I enjoyed every one of them.
Did you? So, what about equipment? Do you think that quilting is like an expensive craft to get into?
Well, I think almost anything is a little costly, but um, you need one rotary cutter, you need a mat to cut on, um,
An iron?
you need an iron, you need a ruler, a couple
Rude.
rulers maybe.
I don't like any of these words, Mom. Like, that is just not the kind of artist I am. If I can't like muscle it together, I'm already intimidated. Like, I've been trying to make a scrap quilt just out of
Okay.
like all the fragments and pieces, but
Good.
I don't know how to sew them together if I have two kind of weird pieces. Like, they kind of end up making a pocket.
Mom used to stitch and flip.
Okay,
So she
okay.
kind of start in a
Hot tip,
corner.
friends, hot tip. Stitch and flip. What the heck does that mean?
She would start in a corner and she would sew two pieces together and then she'd flip the top one down.
Okay.
And then she would put another at another angle and stitch it and flip it down. I
Oh,
mean, it
kind
was
of like
beautiful when it was done, but I
so when
can't
you
do
say
it.
flip, would some of the wrong side be on the top side?
No. You put your
Oh,
right sides together and stitch, well, I would say on the whatever side, but then you
oh,
just fold it down and you've got two right sides facing up.
okay. So stitch and flip. I'll need to
Stitch and flip.
remember that because I think crazy quilts or scrap quilts can be really beautiful
They are.
and no measuring, right? Like no.
Absolutely no measuring. No.
Okay, that's my kind of crafty craft. Like I
Yep.
don't want to like add science. Like that's not what I like to do.
I've tried it and it's hard. But
Why?
well, I think because all your pieces are such different sizes.
Oh,
You might have a triangle, you might have a square, you could have a circle, but somehow, you just work it out and you always make sure you have your stitches or your when you while you stitch on top
hmm.
of what you've previously done so you can flip it down and press it. And it could
Interesting.
be a different shape when you're done.
Right. That's what I like.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I like kind of not knowing.
You would like that,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, very much. Very
Yeah.
much. So, of all the things you've done, Mom, do you have a favorite? Like a favorite like way to spend your time? Like you prefer to make what?
I love quilting.
Yeah.
That is, but you end up having 10 queen size quilts. What do you do with them?
Yeah, Mom,
You
what do you
I
do
mean,
with the postage stamp quilt?
you have
What do you
one
do with
big.
it? What do you do with it?
They're
Why
stored. They're stored.
why are you like keeping this from me, woman? Like I want it.
Well, how many do you have?
I don't think that's the question I'm asking. The question I'm asking is, why can't I have it?
You probably don't want to know
Why? I do want to know.
because you have to be old enough to appreciate it and take care of it.
Mom,
And
I'm old.
I know,
I'm old enough.
I know. That's my reasoning. They aren't old enough to appreciate it yet.
I'm a fully actualized adult. I swear. I think I'm just gonna take it next time I'm home. And if you catch me, you can have it back. So
Okay.
okay, so how about this? Here's my next question.
Okay.
So, I have this, crafty life now, with my amazing followers on my, channels and the
Yep.
art and craft retreats that we host here at the farm. So I often get asked if I was always crafty. Was I always crafty?
I would say no.
Really?
When you were
I
a
don't know what you're
young
going to say.
you journalized, you wrote all
Oh,
the time.
yeah, yeah.
But to sit down and make something, or draw something, no, you just wrote. And I
Interesting.
think this came after you had more time because you were so
Mm,
involved in high school things that, I mean, you left at 7 o'clock in the morning and sometimes it was 10 o'clock at night by the time you got home. So you didn't have time to be
right.
crafty.
But I think that I was creative, right? Like I had
Creative.
creative pursuits that
Well,
were,
you have to be creative to write and to
right,
journalize. Yep.
right. But between music and theater and all my little nerdy activities, I was
Yes,
otherwise creatively engaged. But do you remember the outhouse sign that I made?
I do. Do you
Do you
have
know
it?
where? No, I don't think so. Oh, wait, maybe I do
I think you
because I
do.
want to hang it up somewhere.
Yeah.
So, do you remember how I made that?
Oh God, it was with a piece of plywood and a drill, I think, wasn't it?
So my dad was making a new outhouse seat at our cabin.
Okay.
And
There's the answer.
and he and he used like a handheld bandsaw kind of thing, and he cut out the part where you sit down and to do
Mhm.
your business. And so the shape that came out of that looked kind of like a
A
pear.
face.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it had a like what I looked at is I saw a chin and then I saw a face.
Yep.
So I think I was 10 years old maybe. Was my brother in this world at that time?
Oh, if you were 10, yes, he was.
Yeah, so let's say I was 10. So my dad drills out this outhouse seat, and I take the scrap, and I had a drill, and I drilled around the edges to make hair.
Yep.
And then I drilled out the bottom, so it's just more like a texture
Mhm.
to make a beard. And I made it into my dad's face. So the
Yeah.
outhouse insert had my dad's mustache and beard, and then I painted in his hair. And do
Mhm.
you remember what dad did with it?
God, he hung it up somewhere, but where?
On the outhouse.
On the outhouse.
So when you'd go into the outhouse, you'd first be greeted by my dad's resemblance in the cutaway.
Yep, yep.
In the cutaway. So, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
mom, do you remember Jenny Berlin?
Yes, I
2 years older
do.
than me. She's here. Hi, Jenny.
Okay. Hey, Jenny.
Isn't that awesome?
Uh-huh.
So, okay, so you didn't find that I was particularly crafty as a
No,
child, but I was creative.
but you had
Okay,
no time. You were
right.
just busy. Mhm.
Right, I was busy. So now that I'm a fully grown up, actualized, who can take care of the postage stamp quilt, um, I I
That's
am
no
one.
de that's up for debate.
Mom,
Okay.
I can do it. I can totally do it. So now my wondering is, of my projects, what has been your favorite of the things that I have made?
I like the lady with the head and the big beehive.
Oh, Beehive, that's her name.
Yeah, is that her name? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
That's one of my favorites, and the tree.
Ah, the cardboard tree.
Yes.
Interesting. So would you want one that big?
Um, Maybe a little smaller because of my wall size,
Right.
um, but I have a wall for it.
You do.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that a beehive would be, I mean, boy, mom, that would be like Christmas, birthday, and Mother's Day. Like, that's just not like a, some random Tuesday kind of gift.
Well, that's acceptable.
Okay, okay, okay. If I make you a beehive, can I have the quilt?
All right. I'll
Really?
part with it. Yeah, but I
Oh my
gotta have the
gosh.
picture. I have to have the
Okay.
picture first, or I won't
I
tell you where it's at.
I have witnessed this mother. I know
I
where
know
the
you
picture
do. Several.
is. Awesome. Well, okay. Well, I'm going to take just a little break from our conversation here to tell folks about things that are happening at Big Raven Farm. So we have, it's almost the end of retreat season, and we have one more retreat coming up. It is the 16th through the 19th of November, and it's called Shadows and Sunlight. It is a retreat for folks who are or have been experiencing grief and loss. And it is facilitated by myself and two other amazing individuals who are going to take our participants through journaling, art journaling, uh, you know, great conversation, amazing prompts. I'll be leading the yoga, and it happens here at Big Raven Farm. It is 4 days and 3 nights. You can find out how to register on our website, and that's our last live event of the season. After that, we have one more virtual retreat, and that one is my virtual craft retreat, where instead of traveling to Big Raven Farm in Spring Grove, Minnesota, we will do all of our projects online. It's my second time doing the virtual craft retreat. And in the winter in Minnesota, it seems like a really great compromise if you're not able to drive to this snowy and cold place. So all that information is on our website, and I'll make sure to link it here in our show notes. So, all right. So, Mom, if folks wanted to start doing dot painting, could
Okay.
you describe a little project that like feels like you're going to have a win? Like it's not one of those big frustrating, takes me a long time. Like
Mhm.
what are the supplies of a quick win?
Well, a quick win, you can paint on anything that you want to.
Hmm.
Um, if you have a tray, if you have I don't know, an old picture you want to do something on a mirror, you can paint pictures on a mirror or flowers.
You've done like 4x6 and 5x7 canvases.
I have, yeah.
And those
I
are
actually started with rocks
oh,
because you
okay.
have a small rock and you get it as flat as you can, and you're going to
Mhm.
paint it, and then you just put a design on it, and it's a quick win because you can do that in no time at all. And I started using paint from Walmart. You could buy little bottles for $1
Right.
and get as many colors as you like that you think. You can mix your colors too. So if you want a more yellow in your green, you can mix yellow and green and come up with a nice avocado color. So
Do you
um,
need special tools to make the dots?
no, you don't. You
But
can
you have
use,
special tools.
I do. And my favorite dotting tools are a set of wooden crochet hooks that I purchased
Really?
from Amazon. And they go from a number 1 up to a 13, I think. So you've got a lot of different sizes because there's half sizes in there as well. And but you can use a sharp pencil. You can use a Q-tip, an eraser off a pencil. You can anything with a pointer or a dot. Toothpicks make nice small dots if you want to go around a bigger dot to
So,
emphasize it.
so, so, Mom, is the process like sploosh in the paint and then sploosh on your substrate? Like, do you paint substrate every time?
You mean do I?
Do you fill up your like? Is it every single time, or do
Yes.
you get too much paint then?
Well, you can get too much paint. You just have to kind of adjust. Sometimes you can get two two dots out of one dip, but
So I call it a skabloosh and you call it a dip. Okay. So
well,
you dip and smush and you dip and smush.
pretty much.
Okay. So what happens if you make a mistake? How do you get it off?
Well,
Or do you
if
make
you're
mistakes?
quick enough, you can kind of just wipe it off with a Q-tip or, uh,
Ah.
and you might have to paint over it to cover up what
You
dried
know what
quickly.
I think would be a really great way to start? Like, this is what I think I would need to start. I think I would need like a coloring page, like a
Okay.
coloring page that I transfer to one of those 4x6 or 5x7
Mhm.
canvases so that I have like an outline
So you have an outline.
or
I
maybe
do
even
that all
like
the
those.
time.
Remember when we were going strong on those adult coloring books?
Yes.
Have a bunch of those that I'm probably never going to color in. So getting it off of the coloring book and onto the canvas so that I have like a pattern.
Those
That's a way to start,
those would make great patterns, and I use those quite a
right?
bit for, um, if you want a border or something, you wanna keep a straight line, and sometimes
Mhm.
doing a straight line while you're dotting doesn't end up being a straight line, so, I try to always have an outline on my picture that I'm going to do a dot painting on.
Right. And you know what I have in my stash, Mom? I have carbon paper.
Yep,
I don't know why, but couldn't you take the carbon paper and put it on top of the coloring sheet, trace it to get the carbon, right? Wait, how does that
right,
go?
you can do
Wait,
that.
wait. I'm saying it upside down.
You want it the
So the
other way, yeah, you
other
want
way. So the carbon paper is the first layer, and then you put the coloring book page on top of it, and then you trace it onto the carbon paper. And
correct.
then do you just mush it like onto the canvas to get
Mush?
it off the carbon? Well, you got to get it off the carbon and onto the canvas, right?
Well, you use a pencil or a stylist,
Oh, so you trace
or
it again.
you just trace it, yeah.
Oh,
Tracing it
okay.
would get it there quickly and,
Okay, okay, okay. So that's how we're going to get it onto the canvas.
uh-huh,
And then when you make a mistake, you can use a Q-tip. Do you need to dip the Q-tip in anything? Like, do you have like fingernail polish remover or anything, or you just wipe it up?
just wipe it up,
Okay, you just wipe it up.
yeah.
Okay.
Your
So,
paint is water-based paint, so it should wipe up fairly easily
okay. So
if you're quick enough.
have you thought about making Christmas ornaments this way?
I tried. I tried doing a glass ball.
How come why past tense? What happened?
Ah, I didn't care for it so much when it was done, but
Why? What happened?
I think it was the quality of the bulb.
Oh,
'Cause I
was it
bought
too
them I bought them and it was like 100 in a box for 20 bucks, so they
Oh my
weren't
God, Mom, you
good
have
quality.
100 Christmas bulbs to do something with?
I have some, yeah.
Are they the kind that you can open and you can put stuff in?
No,
Oh, so it's just the
they're just
outside.
colored bulbs.
Oh, I see, I see, I see. So what are you gonna do with 100 bulbs now?
They're in the box in the garage.
I
They'll
really
probably
don't want
stay there
to.
until somebody wants them.
Okay, I was gonna say, I don't want that to be in my inheritance, please.
Oh, well, you might have to do something with it at some point.
I got you.
Yep,
Oh, my craft club is saying maybe my craft club can use it and like make it into something else. Thank you,
you
Lisa. That is
can,
an
you
excellent
can.
suggestion.
Absolutely,
Okay,
there's 100 of them.
that's right. That's right. Everybody
Yeah,
can have one. So, okay, so I think that's a really great project for people to try. I I am skeptical because, I am more of a muscle it together until it fits kind of artist. Like there's not a lot that I do that is super precise. Like it's all a bit like crochet is my best like analogy in
mhm,
that like I think when you crochet it's very forgiving.
it
Like
is.
if you knit, you're boxed in. Like there's mistakes show easily. It's hard to undo. That's why I much prefer to
Yeah.
crochet. And what's really interesting is my sister-in-law, she's a pharmacist and she's like super, super smart. And she is a knitter. So I kind of think it's like an interesting, like Joleen is a crocheter and Megan is a knitter. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
I think
Like that
knitting
makes
is
perfect
hard.
sense.
Kn
I
you
think knitting is hard too. It's
you might
not
as well
like
just rip it out and start all over
right,
because
because when you
it's
make a
hard to
mistake,
mhm,
right? And I make a lot of mistakes, so it's
yeah,
really hard to like undo that.
yeah,
So, but anyway,
I
so
agree.
I think
Yep,
that if I were to try a dot painting, I am going to try this smaller transfer technique because I don't
Okay.
think
Yep.
that um, I don't know that I would be satisfied just kind of going rogue and like figuring it out as I go. Like I kind
No,
of think that I need a little bit of a destination.
I
And you're
need a
saying,
destination too. Yep.
and you can use any kind of craft paint and you can
Mhm.
use any kind of stylist. But didn't you buy the dippy stylus that they sell on Amazon?
I did. I have those, and I like those too. Um, you have a different size bulb on the end of your tool.
Dipper, right?
Dipper, yeah.
Yeah.
And and the smaller the bulb, the smaller the dot, and you can get some pretty big sized dots, but,
Did it
um
surprise you, Mom, that you liked this?
um, a little bit, it did.
Yeah, me too.
I really enjoy it, and it's fun to create something, but
Right.
I am one that needs a pattern.
Yeah, me too.
I
It's kind of
have
like when I
to.
sit down to play the piano. Did you know that about me? That I can't just sit down and be like, "Ba-da-da-da-ding." Like I have to have music.
Yep, I would agree.
And I've been playing the piano since I was what, in third grade? Like I do not
Mm.
understand why I can't just kind of go. It's kind of weird.
I kinda wish I had that ability to play by ear too, and I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Do you know
I
who
can
can?
um,
Charlie.
Charlie can? Oh, good
Yeah.
for Charlie.
So Charlie was just like walking through there one day and he sat down and he started on the Game of Thrones theme.
Okay.
And he was just like tinkering about and like made it work. And I'm so envious of my kid who can do that because I is and for as creative as I am, there are some things that I'm still quite very literal about. Like I need a pattern, I need shape notes, or maybe I just think that I do. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Untested.
Well, Jack used to play the piano all the
He
time,
did.
and
He did.
he had the most beautiful chording,
He
and
did.
I wish he would sit down and play more, but I
I
don't
don't
think I've
think he
ever heard him do
remembers,
it.
Mom. I don't
Oh,
think
I
he
think it'd come
remembers.
back to him.
Well, and I think the reason that my boys are so good at the piano is that they've played a lot of video games, and the video games have taught them pattern
Yep,
and kind
yep.
of rhythm. And so they're really good at repetitive patterns. So I
Mhm.
lay one kind of credit at the feet of video games, which probably not a lot of parents say.
Well, I think they teach you a lot.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't you mom. Oh my God. Tell us about the time. Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
don't
afraid.
you hide your head
I'm
in shame.
afraid. Okay, what are you saying?
What did you what did
Which
you
one are
do?
you going for?
What did you do to your thumb, Mom? What'd you do? Tell everybody.
It got that
You sprained it, didn't you?
probably, yeah.
And and what did you do too much of that you sprained your thumb?
I think it was playing video games. Yeah.
And which video games?
Oh god, what was it?
It was
The
Gradius.
2 which one?
You played a lot of Gradius, which was the
Gradius?
ship.
Oh, I don't remember that one. I
Yep, you
remember the
played the
2
ship, and
little
then you played a
the
lot of
plumbers,
Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers, yeah.
You played so much that you
Yeah.
sprained your thumb.
Well, I kinda wore it out, but it works now.
That was really funny at the time. Like, you wouldn't give me a turn. Like, come on, Mom.
It was still my
Gosh.
turn. I wasn't gonna give it up.
Right, right. It
Yeah,
was Mario. It was
it was
Mario
Mario
Brothers. It
Brothers,
was
yeah.
Mario Brothers and Gradius. I remember because
Gradius.
it was the one with the pew pew, right? And it was like a ship, and then you had to get your ship like around the other ships, and then you would like had to like hit the button so many times to like penetrate like the
Mm.
force field.
Okay, I can remember Lode Runner.
Load Runner. I don't
Oh
remember
god.
that. It was
Oh,
Gradius, Mom. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was lots and lots of
yeah.
Gradius.
Oh my god, that was years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That was like the original Mario Brothers.
Right, right.
My friend Jules is saying she was hoping it was Animal Crossing. I don't remember that one.
I don't
I
either.
played a little bit of Mario Brothers and then I played when my mom would let me, I played some Gradius. So one
I
of the
don't
things oh, go ahead.
I don't remember Gradius Brothers.
No, not Brothers, just Gradius. And
Gradius.
it was airplanes. and or not airplanes, it was spaceships, and they were
Okay.
in space. And then you would have to shoot a whole lot, and then you would have to get around like meteors and stuff falling from the sky.
Oh my God,
Mother,
that
you
sounds
played this so much.
oh, I don't remember it. I
How is
honestly
that
don't.
possible?
Well, out of sight, out of mind. I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay,
Well,
okay,
so one of the things that I would like to also, let my listeners know about is that, one of the segments of my podcast is called What's on My Work Table. And Mom,
okay.
you described that you are working on, you got like 3 quilts, I heard.
Well,
Do you have any other projects going? What's on your work table right now?
I have many quilts that need to be finished, but
Mm,
um, so that's on my work table. I want to get my paintings back out. There's some things I want to paint. Um, I have a couple of mirrors that needed to be painted. My friend has a chair that wants to be painted, so I've got to get those done. So
I see.
those are
Well, the things that I am working on, and I have a crafty idea for folks who are looking for maybe a unique Christmas garland. And I made this last year, and I thought it looked really great on my Christmas tree. So I took a bunch of book paper, and I ripped it into 2-inch squares about. So it had a nice rough edge. So I didn't cut it with the scissors, I ripped it. And then I used a 3-hole puncher and I punched it. And then I used a non stretchy cotton cord. And the non stretchy cotton cord, I'll link in the show notes, but I got it at Home Depot. And it's like a non stretchy twine. And people who work on a loom, they use it to put on their loom
they're
warp and weft. Yeah.
okay.
And so it doesn't stretch. So I strung onto this non-stretchy cotton cord these pieces of book paper that I ripped and punched. And then about every, I don't know, 3 to 5 inches, I added an antique button by going through the buttonholes or going through what's that little shank, I guess it's called,
The
on the
shank.
back, on the
Mhm.
back of a button where you can take your cotton cord through it. And so no skill required at all. And it made a huge, lovely garland where the pieces of book paper started to twist kind of left and right. And then it had the visual interest of these antique buttons. And my friend Dana, she gave me a huge pickle jar of buttons. And I was kind of worried that this project was going to take up all the buttons. And I thought that I didn't want to use all the buttons in this one project, but really it ended up using like 3 inches of buttons. And I had a huge tree and I used a lot of them. So this garland, like, it might not sound super visually interesting, but it really was. And so that's what is your little crafty takeaway project for today. If you are looking to have one, is a Christmas garland, non-stretchy cord, lots of book paper, and buttons. Mine happen to be antique and vintage, but you could use any of the buttons that you have laying around in your stash. Or if you have macrame beads or some other kind of, maybe even you could use beads if you have been a bead stringer, but sometimes the problem is the hole big enough for the cotton to go
Yeah.
through? So you definitely want something that gives you just a little bit more access. The great thing about it is you can stop and start and you don't have to do it all in one sitting. So that's your crafty project for today. And I'll make sure we put a few more details and breadcrumbs in our show notes. But
So
as far as what's on my work table, so, Mom, my crafty friends and I, we talk about this all the time, how there seem to be two sides of like a crafting interest. Like some of us buy supplies, and that is in its own hobby. It's like buying supplies, organizing the supplies, and using the supplies. Have
correct.
you ever had that experience where it's almost just as fun to buy them and organize them as it is to use them?
Well, it's fun to buy them.
Yeah,
Organizing is another step that doesn't always get done, and using them is, "Okay, where did I put it?"
right,
So you might go
right.
buy more. But
Ah,
I'm kinda interested back in your garland.
yeah,
So when you put the button on,
yeah.
did you tie it tight so it became the center of your
No.
You just strung it
because
on the string and kept going.
yeah, you
Okay.
don't want it tight, mom, because you have to keep shimmying it down the line.
Okay.
Right? Because like you're adding and then you put your
Just like
button
you
on
would
and then you shimmy,
popcorn.
shimmy,
Yeah.
shimmy. Yeah, kind of like popcorn. And you
Yeah.
keep shimmying it down the line. The only times I got kind of frustrated was when, because you have to use a large-eyed needle, because a
Yep.
large-eyed needle, like with the cotton cord,
Mhm.
is sometimes it won't go through the buttonhole or the shank on the back of the button.
Right.
So after a while, I started making a pile of stop picking these up. These are too
Okay.
small.
Because they're too
And then
small.
yeah, and I went on and, learned to pick
Mhm.
the ones with the larger holes. But I
Yeah.
love this garland, and I did it again with maps. So I
Oh,
chopped up maps that I think Aunt Sharon had given me, and I used map paper in a version that I hung on the
okay.
fireplace. So I put
Okay.
one on the fireplace and I put the other one on the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love making stuff from garbage. It's like my favorite thing.
Mhm.
I'm kind of addicted. And that's why, like, in this whole conversation about being craft obsessed, I don't know why I am. Do you know
It
why I am?
um, it's I think it's the accomplishment that you're getting something done, and you can see the purpose because you've repurposed something, and it makes you
Hmm.
feel good that you've done this and you've got something to show for it, and you don't have a lot of funds put into it. So
I know I love using stuff that would have otherwise been thrown away.
mhm,
And I go to sleep thinking about it. And I sometimes in the morning wake up and I have a lot of responsibilities. So it's not
mhm.
like I mean, sometimes I shirk my responsibilities.
Well,
I do my crafty
that's part of
projects.
that's part of
But
life.
like But like my big one of my newest projects, I call it cerebral. Do you know the one I'm talking about where I cut the
Mm,
pieces of book on my bandsaw and then I soaked
okay.
them in water? It's in the game room. You know the one I'm talking about? It's really big.
That big, huge one, yeah.
Yes, yes, that big, huge one.
Yep.
And I made the one and now I want to make another one, but I want to make it better. And I'm keep thinking about ways that I could maybe take those cut book strips. I love I love putting them in the water. It blooms the paper and it's so much easier to work with than if I'm just using glue all the
Okay.
time. And I can really get them to like fit together. The only drawback is how dirty and stinky the books are
Yeah.
because they act like a sponge and they just absorb every outside element and
Mhm.
they're really stinky, like bleh, super stinky.
Well,
So my friend Paige was telling me that I should wear like a N95 mask when I got my hands and all this
good idea.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, back to my question. So you don't know why I'm craft obsessed.
Uh, you've seen your grandmother and myself doing crafts, and you know the results, so it's kind of fun to say, "I can do it too."
Yeah, I just love
Yeah.
being a maker. I love making, I love creating, and it makes me so happy. Maybe too that it's like, now that I'm an empty nester, I don't know, maybe this is like milestone stuff. Like I'm no longer running to volleyball tournaments or hockey tournaments.
Yeah,
My family calendar doesn't look like a wartime map, you
exactly.
know?
Yeah. That's true, that's true.
So maybe now it's like I can dedicate some time to some things that really fill up my cup.
Okay, yep,
So
I'd agree.
maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Ooh, my friend Jules is saying, have you ever tried putting them in kitty litter? Jules,
Ooh.
no. That's a hot tip. So I
I'm
can take,
assuming clean kitty litter.
yeah, mom, I would assume. I would assume clean kitty
What
litter,
what
right?
what does the kitty litter do?
Well, it must be it's
Does it
probably like
absorb?
charcoal, right? It's charcoal-ish, so it's gonna absorb some of that stinky, icky smell of these old books.
Yeah,
Ah, good tip, a hot tip. Thank you, Jules.
okay.
That's awesome. Yes, and she says clean
Clean,
kitty
good.
litter. Yeah. So, well, I guess I don't really have I guess my concrete answer to my question of why am I craft obsessed is that for me, it is a delightful way, a happy way to spend time. And and I don't know, Mom, you probably know this, but like I didn't really consider myself an artist until I started my TikTok channel.
Oh, okay.
Like I thought that I was like crafty.
Crafty.
Um, but because the things I make aren't that hard to make, I really didn't think they were all that special.
It's artistry, though. It's
I know
um,
that now, but I didn't
yeah.
know that until I started my social media life and just got so much lovely feedback. It's kind of like the best analogy I have is remember when Charlie started drumming and he didn't think it was that special
Uh-huh.
because it was so easy? Do you remember that?
Was easy for Charlie.
Well, that's right. He
Yeah,
kept saying, because we would say, Charlie, this is so great. And he'd be like, I don't understand what the big deal is. It's so easy. And then
yeah.
I would say, well, it's easy for you. It's not easy for everybody to
That's
have
true.
your
That's true.
hands and your feet and your head all going a different direction at the same time. So
Exactly.
Charlie in his mind thought that it wasn't that special because it was easy. And it turns out that I've been doing that exact same thing. I didn't think my artwork was all that special because it's easy.
It's
And
easy.
then Charlie was like, easy for you, Mom. So we
Yeah.
had kind of like a full circle moment there.
Mhm. That's true. That's true.
But I sure love filling up my bed and breakfast with things that I've made. Um, and it's almost like I don't really desire to buy something that I haven't made. But I do like swapping with my other artsy friends.
Mhm.
That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, like we're going
So,
to do.
right, we are going to do. So let's get witnesses again.
Okay.
Mom,
I think
I'm
you have
going
some.
Mom, I'm going to make you a beehive. And when I make and deliver the beehive, you are going to give me
The postage stamp quilt.
the one, not a different one, that
No,
one, the
it would be
red.
that one. Mhm.
Okay, it's red, it's blue, it's white, it's
Yep,
beautiful.
yep.
Mom, I'm so excited. Thank you. I love that thing. I love that thing so, so much. Mm.
It
So,
it was a fun one, yeah.
well, and so if I wanted to make my own, I start with 2-inch squares, right?
Well, you can the one that I love was the one my mother made, which they ended up being inch squares, so she must have cut them inch and a half, but it was a gorgeous
Where is it
quilt.
now?
My sister has it.
Ah,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
It's fine.
Oh,
She wanted
what
it,
if she
mother.
has that and the horse?
I think she does have the horse.
How do you feel about that?
Uh, she's keeping it displayed, I think. I believe
Man,
she
you're no
has.
fun. I'm trying to poke at you to get some
Well, I wish
to
I
get
had
some to get
it.
some tea.
I wish I had it, but I'm sure she appreciates it as well as I would have. So,
Oh, Mom,
yeah,
that's so sweet.
yeah. And you
That's
can't have
awesome.
everything, so you have to share.
Hmm. I'll have to think about that.
Okay, okay.
Awesome. Well, okay, so I'd like to just recap and tell folks a few more things about the Happy Time Craftcast. Darren gave it its name, which I think he did a great job.
You did a good job.
He did a great job. Our podcast episodes are the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. We stream live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, a couple of other places, which is remarkable. And then our podcasts are rolled up and edited, and they'll be posted to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm excited to let you know that on my next podcast, my guest is going to be Darren. Darren, my partner, and we are going to talk about cooking for the holidays and what it is like to live in this crafty, crazy environment. And also too, just questions for craft partners. What is it like to live in a constant state of creativity and mayhem? So on my next episode, Darren Warling will be my guest. So Mom, you said you were nervous, but you did great.
Oh, well, I'll shake when I'm done. But I would like to just put a little plug in for you too, because listening to you and Lisa talk, about your last upcoming event. I think it would be very well worth it to attend.
Oh, thanks,
Yep.
Mom. She's talking about my friend Lisa Simons, who is hosting, along with TJ, we're hosting the Shadows and Sunlight retreat that's coming up the 16th through the 19th. And in case you missed me talking about it, that one is for folks who are dealing with grief and loss. And it seems weird to use the words like wonderful or fabulous when talking about this event, because I really feel like being witness to people at their most vulnerable is, it's almost like I feel like I'm an honorable witness to that experience. So if you are a person dealing with grief and loss and you want to come and talk to other people in the same exact spot, and like I said, it's not prescriptive, it's not what you should do or how you should do, it's more, this is what we do and this is what we've done. So thank you for reminding me about that, Mom.
Yep.
I
And
really do appreciate
you're going to
it.
come out with warm fuzzies, which would be great.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. And Mom, as my very first guest, you did great. You did
Okay.
great. You didn't even swear.
Awesome. I've been tempted, but I'll send you a bill.
Awesome. For all of
Okay.
you who joined us, thank you so, so much. Let us know what questions you have, and make sure you like and subscribe and do all of those things. We would really appreciate it. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.